Welcome back to the 261 Fearless Classroom. Today I'm going to be talking to you about heat exhaustion, heat stroke, what the difference is between the two and what you need to know as a runner to keep yourself and others around you safe. Let's start by talking about body temperature. Now, the body loves homeostasis. This is where everything is in balance, in the perfect state for all your body processes to work at their optimum. When we're talking about managing body temperature, we call this process thermoregulation. And the thermostat for the body is in the brain and it's called the hypothalamus. There are heat receptors around the body, including in the skin and in the bloodstream, and they send messages to the hypothalamus to tell it what the current temperature is, which should be around 37 degrees centigrade. What we're talking about here is the core body temperature, so the temperature deep inside you. Now, when the core body temperature starts increasing and the messages are going to the hypothalamus to tell it that things are getting too hot for homeostasis, then the hypothalamus can trigger off lots of cooling mechanisms. You might be aware of some of these. First of all, you might notice that when you get very hot, you start sweating. This is because when water droplets evaporate away from the skin, they take heat with them. Secondly, you might be aware that you're breathing more quickly. A faster breathing rate means that you're able to lose more heat in your breath. And thirdly, you will realise that when you get very hot, you sometimes get quite flushed. And this is because superficial blood vessels are opening up, becoming wider or dilating. When blood travels closer to the surface of the skin, it's easier for it to lose heat. So all of these processes take place when you are too hot. Exercise is one thing that can increase your body temperature. The first thing you might notice if your core body temperature is rising is that your pulse rate is getting faster and that you might be feeling thirsty. You might even progress to getting some heat cramps. If you notice these things, then it's really important that you take action. All you need to do is rest, drink some fluids, and let your body recover. The problem comes if you're running on a very hot day and the air around you is already very warm. It's harder for your skin to lose heat into the air. Similarly, if it's very humid and the air is full of water, it's much harder for sweat to evaporate from your body. And it's on days like those where you might be at risk of heat exhaustion. This is happening if you're ignoring those heat cramps and those early signs of overheating and your body temperature starts to increase. So we're talking about core temperatures that are up to and not over 41 degrees C. You might be aware of this because you might feel nauseated, a bit sick. You might feel lightheaded or dizzy. You might still have some cramps and you might just generally not feel very well at all. You'll be sweating and flushed as your body is trying to lower its temperature. This is the time that you definitely need to take action because you need to stop your body progressing into heat stroke. Heat stroke is when your internal temperature is getting over 41.5 degrees centigrade and it is life-threatening. This is when your organs can shut down and ultimately it can cause death. A runner who has heat stroke will be very unwell, very uncoordinated, disorientated, maybe even have a seizure or be unconscious. If you notice somebody that's in a position like that and you think has heat stroke, then it's really important to take urgent action. Firstly, moving them out of the direct sun into somewhere cooler, maybe even an air-conditioned car, to loosen their clothing, to fan them to help move the air around them, giving them some icy cold drinks or just some cool drinks, anything that you have with you to help lower the body temperature. Lying them down and elevating their legs is a very sensible thing to do as well. If this doesn't seem to be helping, or if they are clearly very unwell, then you should call an emergency ambulance. Otherwise, if they're not too bad, you can try these cooling mechanisms. You can even sponge them down with some cool water if that's available. And if they seem to be improving, then fine. But if not, then within about half an hour, you should definitely be seeing improvement and you would want to be getting emergency help. It sounds scary, and it can be very scary. I think sometimes what happens when people get to heat stroke is actually the cooling mechanisms shut off. So somebody might actually not be sweating. Their skin might be quite dry, and they may not appear as if they are very, very hot. But looking out for those signs of unusual behaviour and so being suspicious of it on a very hot day. You could save somebody's life by knowing what to do and taking care of them if they have heat stroke. I think it's important to get the terminology right. Often we're talking about heat stroke when perhaps we mean heat cramps or heat exhaustion, because heat stroke is life-threatening and is a very serious medical condition. So I hope that has helped you to know what to do to look after yourself, to listen to your body and take action, not ignore signs of overheating, but also how to help a runner who might be suffering from heat stroke. Come back to the 261 Fearless Classroom another time for some more education on running and health.